I'm here, so.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Howdy, Oklahoma.
My name is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
Dead gum.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
Is that like you eat them together?
Everybody tells me to get the bag of burgers.
I need like a straw. Like
Howdy. I'm an artist on the court.
this is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
My name is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
It might be Aaron Wiggins.
This is a troll. It's a troll. I'm trolling. Howdy, partner.
Because I think it would take away from who he is, you know? Yeah.
I love Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma to death.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Perfect. Very good.
I like the hat.
You like the hat?
Vava.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk. I've been doing a lot of dunking.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlechter, part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Barra. Michele, what's up?
Well, I've been better. So I'm a bit sick. So if the pod is going on a wrong way, you know why. So okay, I'll try my best.
You got to show up, man. You just got to keep showing up. No,
Yeah.
We're thankful that you're here with us on the pod, Michele, even though you don't feel great. You know what? Thunder had the most fun, disappointing, crazy, insane game maybe ever on Saturday. Like, I still can't believe it. I mean, at church yesterday, I don't know how many people came up to me and were like, hey, like, just wanted to talk about the game. Just how insane it was. They won 126-120 against the Mavs. And unless you've been living under a rock, you know that they let the Mavs go on a 30-0 run. 30-0. I'm sitting there watching thinking, this is going to be the embarrassment of the century here for the Thunder. That they gave up a 30-0 run. I thought they're toast. They're down 6 now. You know, they were up 24.
Yeah.
And even if they were up 6 during that moment, you would have thought, like, oh boy, like, momentum is gone. Like, when you say momentum is gone, that's like an understatement. Like, I don't even know what to say. The NBA can't find a game on their record since play-by-play started in the late 90s. They can't find a game like this. This is the only game like this. This is the only 30-0 run ever recorded that we are aware of. And somehow the Thunder still won the game. They still won the game. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they shut off the water, because they should have done it. Why don't you just try doing it before you let a 30-0 run happen? They didn't. And then they made history. It was the craziest, most bizarre basketball game ever. Had some heroics from Chet. It was one of those moments where there's just no way that they could have won the game without Chet in that game. He had 3 blocks and 4 points in the last couple minutes of the game. He was like one of the huge reasons why that they won that game.
Wow. That was quite the monologue there. I feel like I was probably a little bit less mad about them because on one end,
30-0? 30-0?
I know.
Come on, man, that was nuts. That was crazy bad.
But if you look at the way in which that 30-0 happened, I mean, there were like probably 3, 4, 5 possessions where I almost threw my shoe to the television.
Yeah.
But many possessions were good ones. And it's just, that was an open corner 3. Oh, clank. Okay. On the other end, bad 3 swished by Luka. Well, that can happen. And then it went on
7
to
points of the 30. If he like went on like a personal run that was like 20 points.
I know.
I would have been more understanding. But it's like, hey, like AJ Lawson's doing this to you. I mean, it was just it was wild. That was wild.
Yeah, it was wild. But to me, it was not that the Thunder decided to stop playing defense or stop playing offense. It's just that I felt like for the entire game, they didn't have their offense going from the beginning. They had a lot of threes going in, but it was not their offense. And at the beginning, they allowed Dallas to take open corner threes with players that are not good shooters. This was the decision from the beginning of Mark Daigneault saying, okay, we'll defend this way. We'll double team Luka whenever it's necessary when he gets too close to the basket. And on the other end, they decided to double Shea immediately. So to me, it was not like any of the two teams playing a different brand of basketball. It was just different results shooting wise. I think the Dallas shot like 80% in that stretch, and OKC shot 0% in that stretch.
So 4 turnovers during that stretch too, though.
Like the turnovers the turnovers were bad, but they were at the beginning.
This is also I'm a little bit perplexed by you, Michele, because I thought that this would be like a Dort soapbox time for you, because
I know
was flowing to lose so much during that stretch, and he was like trying to create out of it a lot as well.
I know.
It was like a huge part of like the problem in the offense. I know. Like most of you guys are like, why is Andrew so upset about like the 30-0 run? I just thought it was
I think
I just thought it was crazy. I mean, listen, I'm going to sometimes there are a lot of things in the NBA where I'm like, hey, this just happens. This is part of the league. These are things that happen on a night-to-night basis. I watch a lot of NBA basketball. A lot of the things that happen that people get upset about are things that happen a lot. And it's just like, yeah, what can you do? Sometimes guys make shots. What can you do? Like, don't get upset about like the Timberwolves game. Like, yeah, it happens. Like those games happen. Like this doesn't happen. Like it doesn't. It doesn't happen. It hasn't happened. It doesn't happen. These things don't.
Maybe it will happen more. I don't know, with how offenses are going, and with many teams like the Wizards or the Pistons. Maybe it will happen. Who knows? OKC also lost one of the most perplexing game in Memphis a couple of years ago, where they lost by 75. I don't remember. It looked like
a 30-0 run in that game.
I know. Point is to me that there may be coaches that try to switch players and to just cut out the embarrassment. I think that Mark has a different philosophy about this. Say, okay, let me see. Oh, nice, you're doing that. No, this doesn't work. And speaking of turnovers, I think that there were two parts of the 30-0 run. The first part was in between the third quarter and the fourth, where OKC slowly led, I think, 4 or 5 possessions playing very bad basketball.
Yeah.
And then Dallas made like basket over basket. It was like a plus 15, plus 17, I don't remember. And from that point on, it was, no, we're not able to stop this run. So to me, there was a little bit of carelessness at the beginning, and then just incredible shot making and incredible poor shooting by the Thunder. So I don't think that will replicate. I think that is something that happened.
Yeah. I mean, just clear, like, I'm not mad. I am just like flabbergasted. I am just I can't believe that it happened. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I'm not angry about it. It is insane that it happened. Yeah. It is crazy.
I think that in that stretch,
I'm trying to react accordingly, because when things that are this crazy that happen, I just think we need to acknowledge it. We need to just let it.
Yeah. I think that in that stretch, Isaiah Joe had 2 wide open corner threes.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is, and to me, the 30-0 run is probably the first craziest thing that happened. The second craziest thing that happened, and it's also in the chat, but it's something that I keep watching, is the Bertans shot from 3 with 1 point whatever shot on the clock.
Gosh.
Where
that was so wild. That was so.
But that is the Bertans game in every facet. I mean, he tries on defense, but he's terrible. He makes a lot of shots. I mean, 15 points on six. Well, sorry, 5 offensive possessions. That is insane. And that shot, it's it encapsulates the shooting power of Bertans.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they needed that Davis Bertans game. I mean, he had 15 points on 3 field goal attempts. And some of that is just like Dallas needs to know better to not foul Davis Bertans on the 3-point line, because he's going to sink all 3 free throws. That's going to be the end of it. I will say the mental fortitude that it took, and even like J-Dub even said, like, they didn't panic, which is really something for them to, and this is kind of a Mark thing from the beginning, is that they want to have like this mentality where they're able to kind of let things go quickly and move on to the next thing. And they kind of, they did that in the game, which is wild to me, that they allowed a 30-0 run happen. And then lockdown, shut the water off for the Mavs in a really impressive way, in that like Chet was blocking everything. Shea, that steal that Shea had, where he essentially knew the out of bounds play that they were running by the pin down screen that they ran, and said, "Oh yeah, I know what they're going to do. I'm going to go get that. I'm just going to go get the ball." And he did. I mean, that was so impressive. And I am definitely somebody that's like, I don't know that I want to call the Thunder contenders. I know that people are calling the Thunder contenders now. I mean, they're 5th in offense, 5th in defense, the only team that's top 5 in both offense and defense right now, 2nd in net rating. I mean, all indicators of being one of the best teams in the league. And I still like definitely want to like pump the brakes a little bit on like them being contenders. But that moment, after all of the insanity that happened with the 30-0 run, to get it together enough to get stops, and some of it was like the Mavs missed like a couple like really wide open shots, but to get it together enough to win that game was so impressive. I mean, mentally, to be able to let that go and to lock in enough is so impressive. I mean, that to me is maybe more of an indicator that I think that they could really do some stuff in the playoffs, more so than their offensive defensive rating, just because it's like, man, in order to win in the playoffs, you have to be so mentally tough. I mean, you look at Cleveland. Cleveland was like one of the only teams with the top offense and defense in the NBA last season, losing round 1. Like, they weren't ready for it. Jared Allen talked about how he wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
But like some of the, and maybe they'll get bounced in round 1 too. And like, that's fine. Like, the expectation is not that they need to like win a round or two. But I think guys like Shea and Chet are just they're just built differently as like a mental component of the game. Like, they just are going to be they're obviously high quality players, but I think they're just mentally a little bit different too. And you could see that at the end of the game. Like, they both just locked in. I was just so impressed that they're able to get it together.
I was so impressed by Chet Holmgren. I mean, he decided the game. I mean, yes, Shea had that steal, but if we are honest, I mean, Shea didn't have a good game. He
had 1 point.
He had assists.
He had 1 point like through almost like 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, that is the thing that scared me the most about that game. The fact that Shea couldn't get his. It happens. But, that is the scary thing. Like, when Shea is like that, what do you have? And I was saying, though, that the fact that Chet could be the guy that OKC needed down the stretch 3 consecutive times with 3 amazing blocks and with 2 putbacks, like, he did everything. Like, this is not rookie stuff. I mean, it's incredible how productive he is, how incredible he is at his age, at his experience. I mean, we all know the drawbacks in having a center like Chet. I mean, you will surrender rebounds when you face the center that is tough and heavy and strong, you may get beat down low. But then you have all the rest. I mean, and the equation is what matters today, and OKC is winning it. Like, I know that the net rating and the top five and whatnot is, we should be a little bit careful because OKC is shooting very well. Opponents are not shooting very well. But if you look at the way in which OKC win and lost games, you can pinpoint that basically in every game, Chad had to face a very tough bully ball downside, down low, in all the game they lost. Maybe for the exception is the game that they didn't have Shea against Golden State. So, I mean, they have deficiency against a very specific kind of team, which, I mean, it's a good number of teams that have very good centers, so it's not nothing. But to be able, after 20 games, to say, hey, we have that single issue, and if we are able as a team or with the guys that we have right now to fix it, we're there. I mean, the net rating that they have tells you that the record that they should have, it's better than this one, which is insane to think about.
Yeah. I mean, second in net rating is wild. And some of it is like they have just really put it on the bad teams. I mean, they just let them have it.
But isn't that part of it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the 72 Golden State Warriors, which is not a comparison that I want to. They were demolishing teams, period, because you have to win this way. I mean, the OKC, the good OKC teams, you had like the Lamb Cigar or the Cigar Johnson or whatever. You had those because basically in the fourth quarter there was no game. I mean, so it's not that dissimilar. You should demolish like lesser teams. You should impose your way of playing against bad teams, which is what OKC is doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were good off the bench. I mean, they got a ton of production. Jay Will was awesome in this game in the minutes that he played. Like 15 minutes, he was 4 or 5 from 3. He had like 2 or 3 charges. I mean, he was just all over the place. He was really good. Yeah. Bertans, clearly in 11 minutes, 15 points in 11 minutes on 3 field goal attempts. I mean, he was crazy. He even like paid attention on defense and made some plays on defense. I was like, what is going on here? Did he mean to do that? Is he doing this on purpose?
He deflected a pass.
Yeah, I was like, man, that blew my mind. Cason Wallace was really, really good.
Really good. Yes.
15 points in 20 minutes, 6 of 12 from the field, 6 boards. The 6 boards were huge too. Yeah. Like they need, and that's the thing. Is like some of it is on Chet. Like he just has to be, and he will get better. I mean, this is probably the worst version of Chet that we're gonna see. But like the other guys need to be better too. Like J-Dub can be better. Obviously, Giddey can be better in almost every facet of the game. Shea can even be better on the boards. You know, like you look at the guys off the bench. Like Isaiah Joe had 7 boards in that game. Cason Wallace had 6. Kenrich had 6. Like those guys are contributing. It's not all on Chet. Like those guys have got to like just. There's so many instances that you watch, and like the Thunder won the rebounding battle in this game. Yeah. So like I'm not mad about the rebounding in this game, but I think part of the reason they won it is because you have these guards that are just like going after it. Like Cason's just going after it. I think you could argue he could have played more. Like I would have honestly loved to see more of Cason Wallace in that game.
Yeah, I think also that Chet is moving from trying to get a lot of rebounds and focusing on, hey, I'm going to do my best to box out my guy. Mm-hmm. That to me is a focus that I'm trying to watch the best I can how he does that. And I think the focus is, hey, I need to grab rebounds when I'm contesting and I'm like maybe in a crowd, but I also need to be the first guy to really box out because I have teammates that can get rebounds. And I think that is what happened against the Mavs. Mm-hmm. Granted, the Mavs didn't have like any very, very good rebounder, so that helps.
Yeah. I mean, like Lively was Lively and Luca were awesome. Like those
Yeah.
two were incredible. Luca,
Yeah.
I mean, look at 36, 15, and 18, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I mean, holy smokes.
Yeah.
I mean, something that saved the Thunder too is that they shot really bad from the free throw line. They were 23 of 35 in this one. And that is like, if that's the Mavs giving it away, if you don't make your free throws, you look at the Thunder, like the Thunder 81% from the line. Like they don't let the free throw line beat you. The Thunder don't. Other teams are going to, and that's a real strength of the Thunder is the free throw line. But yeah, Lively was great. I was admittedly not a huge Lively guy, mostly because I just didn't think the Thunder would take a big like him. And I don't think they will moving forward, but he was awesome in this one. The 9 of 9 from the field is great, but like he's a great athlete. You saw him make like a lot of good decisions with the ball, like when to score, when to not score. Monster on the board, 7 blocks.
Yeah, the defense was insane.
He was a beast in this one. He was really good. And then like AJ lost, and they just kind of like struggled to find other guys. Derek Jones Jr. was really good. He had a nice shooting game. He took 12 threes.
Yeah,
it's like a
I
product.
wonder when that will happen again. I mean, 6 out of 12 for Derek Jones seems like not
crazy.
a normal thing.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's fun. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more numbers for the Thunder. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back after that quick break. I mean, a little bit more from this game. I mean, Josh Giddey only plays 16 minutes and change in this one. He did have 10 points on 4 of 13 from the field. Not so great. Only 1 assist, only 3 boards in those minutes. I'll just say this, like I'm really just unwilling to like go there with Josh, even with like the on the people like, well, beyond the on the off the court stuff, there's the on the court stuff. And it's like we all know in life you can't separate the two.
Yeah.
Can't. And that's why I'm like unwilling to like say like they need to bench him, they need to not play him, they need to do this. I mean, you can't like disconnect these things. And then like you have, I mean, like almost like everything that could go wrong is going wrong. I mean, he was with his agent who was with Octagon. His agent got fired from Octagon for like posting some stuff online about the Israeli-Palestinian war to Black Lives Matter post. It was just like he got let go, but he's keeping all of his clients. Like he's a huge Australian agent, but you have like that going on. You have obviously all the other off the court stuff going on with Josh, and then like he didn't start the year particularly well, anyways. Like we know, like we have a larger sample that shows like Josh Giddey is a talented NBA player, like a much larger sample, and like for us to like start to like turn on Josh as a player when he's going through like probably the most difficult like thing in his life he's ever gone through. Like I just think like we gotta have more patience than that. It's kind of where I'm at with it. And like I get it. If you want to just talk about just general fit stuff, fine. But like I just can't go there yet. Like that's gonna be my stance until we have more information on this and we can kind of get away from part of it. So like I'm not willing to go there yet. I'm not willing to talk about trades. I'm not willing to talk about even benching him or whatever. Like I still think that he can start, and if they want to bring him off the bench to just see if it helps him, like sure, but I'm not gonna be too hard on him either way until like we have a little bit more clarity on like the way that things are gonna go.
I think that this is a good approach. We also need to be mindful about the fact that if it happens once in terms of him being distracted by something external, it's still a thing that happened, and it's a data point that we need to have in mind. The second data point that I have in my mind is that yes, he was better last season in the second part of the year, but still all the advanced stats were not really saying with Giddy and Shea the offense looks great, which is
Yeah.
something that the numbers say about immediately, by the way, about Chet and Shea, about
Yeah.
Shea, Dub, and Chet, about Joe and Shea. So, yes, on one hand, we don't need to rush into judgment. There might be a way to maximize Giddy. I think that I looked up some numbers, and I think that lineups with Chet and Giddy were doing very well at the beginning of the season. I'm not sure why the coaching staff went away from that, but it's something that worked. So to me, having in mind that things didn't really work between Shea and Giddy to the extent that are working between Shea and Dub and Chet. I think that this is the truth, and we need to realize that. And I think that it's also good to discuss: is there a way to optimize this team while Giddy is one of the best players? I think the answer is yes, if he improves in terms of rebounding and getting into the transition, and also a little bit on shooting, which are stuff that are getting worse this season. And this is why I'm a little bit worried. Now, can this be all mental? Sure, it can. And for this, anyone should give Giddy's time. But we also need to realize that even last year, I mean, the difference between what is happening now with Shea and Chat and what happened last year between Giddy and Shea, it's night and day in terms of efficiency. So I think that this is a topic that can be addressed. Now, do we need to get into the trade modes? I don't know. I mean, it's really early.
Yeah, I just think like I don't know, like J Dub right now has like a really bad on off too, you
Yeah.
know, and so does Lou Dort. And so I just think at some point, like we're just kind of piling on the guy. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Because like we can use like,
but
we
on
can use-
J-Dub, let me give this data point because I think it's relevant. The units with J-Dub and nor Shea nor Guinea are very positive, +4 and change. With Shea is well a gazillion points. With Giddy, those are negatives. So I think that J-Dub is having a promising season, improving from last year.
Yeah, I mean, according to Cleaning the Glass, he's a minus 17.5.
Yeah, on off, yes, because Shea is awesome, and he's less like +14.5 when he's by himself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all that to say. It's like I still am gonna like preach patience with Josh. Like I don't think that anybody's gonna give up on him anytime soon, and like fans expecting that to happen is like
No, they should not give up on Josh, and I think that they need to find, I mean, a way to make him work. And I think that again, the avenue for that to happen is him being maybe paired with Chet a little bit more, and because I think that he can be the lead ball handler and the lead guy on a unit with, I don't know, Chet, Kenny, Joe, Kaysen.
yeah. I think that they need to find different ways to showcase him, because putting him and it's some of this is like just the way that he's playing too. Like he's not even playing the same way that he was last year. I mean, is he like only playing for the drive? Like for only playing for
Yeah.
his own drives right now? I mean, look at it. Like his assists are like way.
Yeah, that is very concerning as well.
Like,
Yeah.
there was one play during the game where he got the ball on a hit ahead. They were trying to like start a fast break, basically. He threw the ball ahead, got it back, and then threw the ball to a cutting Kaysen Wallace, who got a bucket. Like that was like, okay, there it is. That's like one of the I just don't see him doing it a whole lot. And it's like he can still be really effective if he rebounds and if he moves the ball like that and he gets them into like a rhythmic play. But he's so out of rhythm. Like he is a very much a rhythmic player. He's not like a crazy athlete. He's not like the way that he's going to get into his game is to have rhythm on the court and not necessarily as a scorer, which I think is part of the problem too. Is like he's looking too much for his own. He's looking too I think that he's almost like too focused on trying to get to the free throw line and trying to do like these things that it's just like, man, just like play your game.
Yeah.
Just play your game. And I think if he can get to the point where he can play his game, one, like the Thunder are going to be really scary because they're really good, even playing through this like horrible stretch for Josh.
Yeah.
And he's been like straight up bad.
Yeah.
And the Thunder are still second in net rating and still really good, with one of their best players performing at his like lowest he's ever played. Like, I don't know if he's ever played this bad.
Yeah.
And so like it's interesting because it kind of speaks to the fact like the Thunder still have some room for improvement. If Josh can just, hopefully this stuff, you can get it put behind him in one way or another at some point. And then he can maybe get into a better headspace and then just like stabilize. Like he doesn't need to be 16, 8, and 6 again. If he can
Would be nice.
it'd be amazing. But if he can be 12, 5, and 5, even on a nightly
12,
basis,
8, and 5. 8, the rebounds should be high.
yeah, if he's 12, 8, and 5, 12, 7, and 5, whatever, where he is just a better contributor to the team, boy, like the Thunder have even further to go here with like what they have. So
I think that he needs to be Boston Giddy, the game where nothing worked, but he gobbled like 10 rebounds.
That is a good like touchstone for like what he can still be, and to like know that that player's not just gone, but it might be right now. And I think we can't just copy and paste this to the rest of the season for him. I think that's unfair. It is unfair. I think that again, he needs to be the guy who takes a lot of the rebounding stuff, because nothing else. Well, a lot of stuff are not working in his arsenal, and I think that he can be better by getting rebounds and jump starting transitions, and I think that he needs to be a little bit more mindful about, hey, I'm getting into a crowd versus, hey, I have an advantage on my man and I can finish. Because he can, when he gets his defender on the move, he's still a guy that can finish against anybody. But when he attacks a set defense, he's not as good. If you realize that, if he improves these 2-3 things, I think that he can be better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. On-offs for like everybody, we can just talk about those a little bit. Like the guys, like Isaiah Joe is like the on-off king, plus 19.3.
Yeah. This is why J-Dub is negative, because J-Dub never shares the court with Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, which is a little weird to me. Like they could share the court a little bit more. Shea's plus 13.8, second on the team. Kenrich, another plus minus king here, plus 11. And then Case and Wallace. It's like these bench guys. And it's also it's just not rocket science. And it's not insane to think that guys like Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, Case and Wallace, what do those guys do? They play tough defense, they shoot threes, and they just make the right plays.
Yeah.
Those are the guys. And the next guy in line, he's got a negative on-off. But it's Aaron Wiggins is the next guy. It's like he's like another one of those same guys. And I guaranteed if you put those kind of players around Shea and Chet, you're going to win basketball games.
Yeah.
Like you're just going to win basketball games. And like guys like Dub and Giddy, like Dub, like he's in a different class. I think the world of that guy. I think he's going to make an all-star team. I think he's a very, very good player. Giddy helps raise your ceiling. He also is lowering your floor right now, but I'm still a believer in what he can do to help this team get into like a rhythm and to play faster and to, honestly, like you've said, rebound. Like he just has to be one of the answers for how this team gets better as a rebounding team is Josh Giddey. Like it's still the answer to like how they become a better defensive rebounding team. Chet is oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I wonder with Dub if we can really, I mean, right now he is the handler on the second unit without Shea. I don't quite know if that is the best way to use him. I think he can do that, but I love him and Shea together on the court.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, the more I think that a unit with Shea, Dub, J. Will, Joe, and even Dort, that is a unit that can close first quarter. Is good as good as the one with Kaysen and Chat? No, but you may have a unit with Giddy, Kaysen, and Chat open up the second quarter and having a little bit more balance where maybe you don't have a Shea Joe unit that makes like a plus whatever, and you have two units that have like a +5, +6, +7 sustainable net rating. I don't know. It's not that I don't like Dub with the ball in his hands. I like him, especially in certain situations in the clutch. He's shown to be very, very good. I don't know. I want to see Giddy back with a little bit more of an on-ball role with maybe a lot of shooting because, I mean, he needs shooting as well. We know that Shea needs shooting in order to be aggressive, but even Giddy needs that.
Definitely he does. Definitely he does. And like if you look at the lineups, I mean, the problem is like we have really one lineup that we have enough data on to like talk about. It's a starting lineup.
And maybe like Shea plus Joe, and like one with Joe and Shea have like maybe 100 and stuff possessions.
Not according to Cleaning the Glass. There's only one. They have 457 possessions with the starting lineup, and they're a plus 4.6,
which is awesome, by the way.
The next most played lineup is Kaysen Wallace, J Dub, Giddy, Oos, and Chet.
Oh,
which is like a second quarter lineup, and they're a minus 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's only in 59 possessions. It's like everything else is 50 or below. 50 possessions or below, and a majority are like single digit lineups. I mean, it's just not. We just don't have. There's not like lineup data that exists for the Thunder that you can dive deep on. The amount of situations that all these guys are put in against different teams and against different times of the game. And I mean, it's just, there's not a whole lot that you can do with it, to be honest. So I'm just not going to do anything with it. Hey, Michele, I've got to go. Do you have any interest in sticking around, or you just want to end the show here?
Well, if I can stick around a bit and finish the, if you can keep the recording.
Yeah. We'll keep going. I just gotta hop off.
Okay. And I'll go. If you have questions, put it on the chat. If not, I will continue discussing a little bit the net rating from Cleaning the Glass. Let me go to the page. Oklahoma City Thunder. And let's go to the on-off stats. Yeah, so as Andy was discussing, Joe is the true king of the on-off. 390 minutes plus 19.3. The offense is 15.5 points better with him on the court, and the defense is better, which to me is crazy. Second is Shea at plus 13.8. Offense is almost 10 points better. Defense is 4 points better. Then there is Kenrich and Kaysen. Let's go to the negative, or like slightly negative. There is Aaron Wiggins, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams. With Chet, the offense is negative with him on the court, which I don't think that he is the cause. But the defense is better, almost 4 points better. Like guys that have very negative net rating are on-off ratings are Luguentz-Dort, Jalen Williams, and Giddy, minus 17.5 for both Luguentz-Dort and Jalen Williams, and also Josh Giddy. Point is, it's not that those guys have negatives in terms of real production. It's that the team performs way better when they are off. It's not that, again, they are part of bad units, especially Jalen and Lou. They are just part of units that are worse than the one with Shea and Kaysen Wallace. Other guys that played very few minutes, I mean, Bertans, it's plus 30, but that doesn't count. Mitsic is positive. Waters is positive. Sar is positive. So, I mean, that's it. Guys, let's see if there are some questions and then or comments, and then we can go. From SG Duwop YT, teams are sitting in the passing lanes when Giddy has the ball. Sure, that is true, but if you clog the lane when Giddy is on ball and you have shooters, you can still unlock that. If you pack the paint to guard Giddy, that is a good deal because Giddy is tall and he has length to make any pass. So I think that the reason why I want to play Giddy with Holmgren more and with 2-3 shooters, it's because we are not OKC is not employing Chad as a rim diver as Luka does with Lively. And I know that you have the threat of the shooting, which you don't have with Giddy, but you can still leverage a bit that if you play in space and you have a lot of shooters. So I really want to see that. I also want to see that with Shea. I think that Shea and Chet can get to the lob game a little bit more. Michael Jordan comments, bench Giddy is hurting the team. I don't think he's hurting the team. I think that he is not awesome. The other players are playing very well. Andrew Hoopstock69 comments that Andrew is too big league for us. Probably so. Andrew's the podcasting king of Oklahoma or whatever. Sandy Clip, why would you want to see potentially? Who would you want to see potentially start over Giddy? Should it be matchup dependent or just let him ride out? I mean, I think that I would look at starting Kaysen or starting Joe instead of Giddy if I have to. Ideally, I would like to have someone taller, but I don't want to start Usman Jeng today nor tomorrow. So probably I will stick with one. I like the energy that Joe brings off the bench, so I would start with Kaysen and see. Brighton Schmidt, was the 30-0 10-minute stretch the worst 10 minutes in Thunder history? I cannot think of any 10-minute worse. Oh no! There are. Trust me. This was just some just stupid 10 minutes of basketball in terms of, hey, we're missing shots and the other guys are making all the shots. There were moments in Thunder history that were very tough to watch. Like the playoff game against Portland to me was extremely tough to watch. The game against Utah, that was I don't know, that was so bad. The game in which Russ took 87 shots. That to me was worse. This one was, it's no, this is silly. The other stuff was terrible. And again, there was the Memphis game, year and a half ago. There were moments, Brighton. There were moments where Charlie Brown Jr. played the game like Kalatzakis. Do you remember that? That looked like Isaiah Roby game winner. Do you remember that? That was terrible. Okay, Hoopstock69. What player archetype would you want to add to this team? You know what type of player I would add. A better version of Jabari Smith, probably taller. No, not taller, stronger, with the same kind of 3-point shooting. A guy like that, maybe not even Jabari, because I don't like the overall IQ, but ideally, if you can find me a version of Aaron Gordon that has a tiny little bit better shooting, I would grab it. Even with the same kind of shooting, to be honest with you, at this point. Kenny Moore, Kenrich would be my pick if you send Giddy to the bench. Not enough shooting, and I think very little free throw shooting, which is probably problematic. Again, from Kenny Moore, Jeng with 3 more solid years of experience would be a great addition to this team. Not sure who in the league fit that description, or a bigger version of Kenrich. Jeng with 3 years, maybe a guy that stands in Europe. I don't know. I don't trust this magic miracle thing that happens where a player magically becomes better. I think that there are players that become role players, but but not many times. And to me, when a player doesn't stick, when a player can't get games, can stack up games, good games, at the beginning of his career, nor in first year, nor in second year, it starts to be a little bit problematic to me to draw a line where he's a player that make noise or can fit in an NBA team. Hoopstock City. Now, when we can get another Mickey film breakdown? Never again, probably. I don't know. Time is not on my side at this moment in my life. Sandy Clips. Why do you think Vaza isn't getting played right now? I don't know. I mean, Vaza would have been good in that 30-minute stretch. He can create offense. So I think that I would like to see Vaza a little bit more. Hoopstock 69 again. Actualized Jang would be perfect for the starting lineup. Yeah, actualized Jang may not exist. Let me see. Can you guys? This is fun. I don't know what that is. Fan TV. I don't know how to read it. Can one of you guys please talk about Ryan Dunn from Virginia? He has to be the best player in college basketball, and he fits the OKC Thunder mold so well. We will on the Thunder After Dark draft show in a few weeks, months. I don't know. And there are a lot of talks about Dunn, which we will address in another podcast. Last question before I go. Thought of trying to get Caruso? No, Fields off. We will not try to get Caruso because he's not tall enough, and I don't like to add veterans that are not tall enough and have already similar roles. A guy like Caruso, you need to play. I don't buy the shot of Caruso to a degree that makes OKC works for real. So not Caruso. Jaden McDaniels tomorrow. Can you get Jaden McDaniels? No. So a guy like that is by the way, that is the perfect guy to add to this team, to be honest with you. A versatile four that can hit corner threes, that can be a great defender on 3 4s and maybe some 5s. That is the guy. Last one from Sandy Clips. Last one. Where do you think Clippers and Rockets finish the season? Those picks look tasty. I think that they will be between the playing games and maybe not the playing games. And so, yeah, those picks can be juicy. I don't expect them to have a huge amount of ping pong balls in the lottery, though. They can go both in the between 11 and 14, which is fine. James Henderson. Hi, James. What about Nick Claxton? Not enough shooting, not enough spacing. I like him, but I doesn't really move the needle. Guys, thank you for sticking with me for an extra, 10 minutes or so. Thank you for listening and subscribing to Down to Dunk. Please keep doing that, and we'll talk to you soon.